Hi viewers and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is HP Fashions GY. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning on how to cut and sew a trendy detachable structured sleeve. So I folded my pattern paper into two and I'll be taking the length of 9 inches, wideness of 9 inches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut it all out. All right, and I've indicated the middle, so I'll just have to use my pen now to trace the middle line so that it will be more pronounced. Okay, so after that I'll go ahead and get the length of the sleeve. If I place my tape, I will be getting about 9.5 inches for the wideness. Okay, from top to bottom. All right, so I'll be getting 9.5 inches. So if that is done, I will place my tape from the top and mark 3.5 from the upper part to the downside, 3.5 inches. All right, then I'll confirm the down measurement to know if I still have about 5.5 inches. Then I will go up by 1 inch. I'll go up by 1 inch from my initial measurement. I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch. Then I will still come down with about 1 inch again. All right, so I'll still take my measurement to know I have about 4.5 inches wide. Okay, so from this point now, I'll mark 2 inches from the left and mark 2 inches from the right. All right, then I will use my ruler to connect the lines. Okay, because we actually need a straight line for this. So once this is done now, I'll take my measurement on the upper part, spacing of 1 inch at the left, spacing of 1 inch at the right. So once that is done, I'll make a connection to like this, then the other way as well. All right, so once this is done, then I'll take this out, then connect to the end, to the other side of my pattern. Then I'll also connect the other side. Okay, all right, so this sleeve is not actually a long cape sleeve, it's actually a short one. All right, so the length will be about 9 inches after sewing. So at this point now, we just have to confirm the length of the sides and know if it's actually the same with what I want. All right, so after that is done, I'll have to give this side a little curve, then the other side as well, repeating the same thing. Then at this point here, I'll be going up with about half an inch, not up to 1 inch. Okay, if I actually have a long length of the sleeve, I would have been going up with about 1 inch. All right, so but this length now, the sleeve length is actually a short cape sleeve. So once this is done, we'll go ahead and cut it all out. We'll go ahead and trace the we'll go ahead and trace it out and cut it out. Okay, making sure all the lines are actually equal. So I'll just go ahead and trace the lines out exactly the way I want it. Okay, so I'm actually using the paper, so I need to be very careful so it won't go ahead and cut the wrong part of the pattern. All right, so at this point, this is what we have. So at this point now, I'll go ahead and take that curve out. I'll go ahead and trim the curve all out. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so when folded into two, we have an equal sleeve. All right, it's actually equal, the sides are equal. So at this point now, I'll go ahead and place it on my lace fabric. I folded my fabric into two, so I will just get the two sleeve at once. All right, so I'll just go ahead and get the lace, the part. I place my pattern on the lace to get exactly the shape, and after that it won't really stop there. It won't really stop there. After cutting the lace sleeve, I'll go ahead and still get the lining for the lace. It's actually a lace, so it needs about two linings for the sewing. One will be placed under the lace, while the other will be used to turn up the sewing of the lace. All right, so each sleeve will have about two linings. Okay, all right, if you use more than two, it all depends on choice. All right, but for normal lace, it actually requires two lining, because all the seam allowances are actually supposed to hide inside they're supposed to be inside the linings, in between the linings. It's not meant to show. All right, so this is what we have for the two sleeves. I had to get for the two at once, not getting them one after the other. Okay, so once this is setting and this is done, I will keep them aside. All right, so this is what we have. All right, so for this, I had to place this back to actually number this. I'll be using an alphabet: A, B, C, and D. So this is what we have. So I'll actually place this on my lining, and I'll be getting four of it. Okay, so two is for one sleeve, then the other two is for the other sleeve. All right, so this is it. This is what we have. Okay, so once this is done, I'll just go ahead and place my lace on the lining. All right, then I'll just go ahead and place my lace on the lining. Afterwards, I'll use a pin to secure it so that it won't shift or move. After everything, we'll see how exactly what we want, okay, in good shape. All right, so you can actually apply a hemi gum if you have, and if you so wish, but if you don't, then you can just use a pin to secure this. All right, so I'll be joining with about half an inch or less than half for this. All right, so I'll just do this joining this way and take off the excess. All right, so this is what we have, and we're not done. This is how it looks like. So go ahead and iron the middle, spread it open and iron it to be very sure that everything relax perfectly. Then fold this way and top stitch at the tip. All right, so once that is done, you take off the excess thread, turn it up this way. So I'll go ahead and join my lining the same way, but not really the same like that. So I'll just sew at this point, then measure from under this side. All right, leaving spacing of about 2 inches wide. So once I sew and stop there, I will just take off my excess, take off the thread, then continue the sewing under the 2 inches I provided. All right, so this is it. So after sewing and after joining it, all right, so this is what we have. This is what it actually looks like. All right, so this is it. It's actually open, so we'll go ahead and iron the space provided. All right, so make sure we spread and iron it. So if we are done ironing and everything is perfect, we'll place our fabric like this on the machine and still stitch the upper part. All right, so we'll stitch it exactly the way we did for the lace. Then once that is done, we'll go ahead and join the second sleeve for the lining, the second lining. All right, so since you're working with the two sleeves, we'll be joining the both same time. All right, so this is actually just for the lining, and also I actually provided the same 2 inches. So this is what it looks like for the lining. This is what we have. So at this point now, I'll be using my lining to cover my main fabric. I'm using my lining to cover my main fabric, while I'll just join it this way. The joining side will face the joining side on the lace. Then I will use my pin to secure. Always use your pin to secure for a good and perfect finishing. Okay, so I will actually use my pin to secure this in order to ensure that everything is equal. All right, to ensure that no side is actually bigger than the other side. All right, so I will not just sew I'll just secure it before I run a thread through. All right, so if I'm very certain and okay, I'll go ahead and do this joining with about half an inch. I'll go ahead and join this. All right, so I'll take off my pins while I sew. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So I'm trying to adjust my lace and my fabric at the same time while I sew. So this is what we have at this point. So once I get to this point, I'll have to turn up to the other side and sew up. All right, so I'll have to do this real quick. Meanwhile, while I sew, I keep arranging my fabric to get a perfect finishing. Okay, so this is actually the end of it. This is what we have at this point. Now I'll go ahead and stitch, then go ahead and notch the tip of all the stitches for the sleeve. I'll go ahead and notch all the edges. All right, so once it's done and certain, I'll go ahead and turn it all up. At this point, for the 2 inches provided on the lining, I'll turn it up from that side. All right, so after turning it up, now I'll go ahead and give it a nice press, a very nice one. All right, bringing out all the sides and edges. If you find this video very helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't also forget to share my video and comment. Okay, so I'll have to repeat the same procedure for the other sleeve. Like I said, I'm actually making for the 2 sleeves, so I'm done with one of the sleeve. Go ahead and make the second sleeve real quick. Okay, so we'll just repeat the same procedure by sewing the edges and all. So after sewing, I'll go ahead and notch the edges, then go ahead and turn it all up before I'll give it a nice press. All right, so this is it. All right, so I'll just go ahead and turn this up because I've already notched it. All right, so this is it. This is what it looks like. So I'm taking off all my pins from the fabric, and also I'll ensure that all the edges actually comes out before I give a nice press on this. All right, so this is what we have for now. All right, so after this is done, I will go ahead and give it a very nice press. So we've ironed our sleeve. This is what it looks like after ironing. All right, so at this point now, we'll go ahead and attach it to our dress. Like I said, it's actually detachable sleeve. So this is how our dress looks like before we attached it. All right, so I'll actually use my pin to secure this first before I'll go ahead to add pressing buttons to the side I place a pin. All right, so you can actually hand stitch it if you want it permanently there. Better still, you put a pressing button if you want it to be detachable. All right, so this is what we have. This is the final look of this, looking very gorgeous. It's actually giving a rich auntie vibe for me. All right, so this is actually the final look of this dress and the sleeve. All right, so see you in my next video. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you. Bye.